Everyone this afternoon for the Pathfinder activities, the Pathfinder honors. We start back this afternoon after a break of activities for a couple of hours. We start back this afternoon with firstly the touch honor, and then secondly we have the smell honor. So without further ado, I'm going to ask area coordinator Tyrone to introduce our presenter for this afternoon. Before we do that, we're going to start with a word of prayer. So let's bow our heads for a word of prayer. Father in heaven, we thank you so much for today so far. It was exciting and very, very invigorating this morning. We know this afternoon is going to be no worse than that at all, and it's going to be as it was this morning or even better. Lord, we pray that you would be with all our presenters. We pray that you be with all our Pathfinders who have joined us this afternoon for the honors and also for the evening program. We pray that you will bless us all and keep us safe where we are. In Jesus' name, amen. Tyrone, over to you.
Hello, Pathfinders. I hope you're all set and ready for a really exciting honor. This is going to be our touch honor. As you've heard, it's one of 5 brand new honors that's been recently put together, and it is going to be presented by someone that every Pathfinder within the SEC definitely knows. I don't know which area he belongs to. He says he's from area 6C, but I see him in area 6C, I see him in area 7, I see him in area 8. Everywhere I go, I see this young man. If you've seen any drilling and marching within the SEC, you're going to see him there. If you're doing PLP training, you're going to see him there. It almost doesn't matter what you're doing, you're going to see him there. He is a really super Pathfinder counselor. And we're talking about Counselor Alberta Francis. He's going to present you this morning this touch honor, and I know it's going to be exciting. I know it's going to be fulfilling. I know you're going to enjoy your time working through this honor with Counselor Alberta Francis this morning. I also want to tell you that this honor was put together by 2 other counselors, and I think it's only fitting that we mention their name. Counselor Alsbetta from Bournemouth Pathfinder Club and Counselor Tunisia from Dagenham Pathfinder Club. They have worked tirelessly for weeks putting this honor together, getting the requirements, getting good answers, getting good examples, and even getting some good activities for you all to do. So at this time, I'd like to hand you over to Counselor Alberta Francis. Pay close attention. This is going to be exciting and you're going to learn lots of new things. So Counselor Alberta Francis, I hand over to you now.
Okay, hello everybody and welcome to the wonderful world of learning about touch. Okay, so we're going to dive into all that touch is related to, and hopefully by the end of today you will learn or be an expert on the sense of touch. So first things first, just a brief overview, what is touch? Okay, so just like all our other senses, touch is another method of exploring the world around us, okay? So we can use touch to understand different functions of our environment to aid us in appreciating the things that mold us. We're going to go into more detail about that later on throughout the honor, so hopefully you can follow me in exploring touch. So I split the honor up into 4 sections, okay? So the first section, we're going to look at what and how. So what is touch and how does touch work? Okay. Then our next section is going to be the purpose and change. So is touch needed? Do we need touch? And does touch change as we grow up? And what can affect our touch? Then we're looking at surface damage. So how can other external sources affect the way we can feel? Okay, affect our skin. And last but not least, we're going to look at the spiritual influence. So how does the Bible talk about touch, and how can touch be used to minister or to teach us how to be better Christians, okay? So following the questions, I've got the questions on top of each slide, so you can follow me along as we go, okay? So let's get started. What and how? So question 1 says, label and explain the 3 main parts of the skin. So we've got the epidermis, you've got the dermis, and you've got the subcutaneous tissues, also called the hypodermis, okay? So in your worksheets, those are following the worksheet, you should see a picture similar to this, and we're going to label them. So first thing is first, right at the top, we have the epidermis, okay? So that's the upper layer of our skin, okay? It's flat and it's scale-like. So if you look closely at your arm, you see little lines, little faint lines, that's our epidermis, okay?
Just one moment, Albert. You say scale-like. You mean that we got scales?
Well, kind of. Not like a fish, not big like a fish, but we've got very small cell-like scales on our skin. Very thin layer of skin on top of our, on the top layer of our skin, okay? So, the main function of this part is to provide a barrier for infection that comes from outside environments, okay? So the wind, the temperature, a stinging nettle, anything that comes from the outside that can affect us, the epidermis is the first thing that comes into contact, okay?
Is it better to have tough skin then?
Well, maybe not. The top of the skin, you might not feel everything. Okay. So we're blessed to what we have now, okay? And another key tip, another key fact is that the epidermis also contains something called melanocytes, which is basically the home to where our melanin, our skin color, is produced, okay? So that's a little fact about the epidermis. Okay, next, the big chunk in the middle is what we call the dermis, okay? So the dermis is another cushion, okay? That cushions your body from stresses that come from the outside, okay? It's the elasticity of the skin, and it's also home to hair follicles. So yeah, we may shave our arms or our legs and thinking, how is our hair able to grow back? The stem of our hair follicle is embedded in that pinky juice area within your dermis, okay? And last but not least, we have the hypodermis, okay? So what's the hypodermis? So it's the deepest layer of our skin, okay? And it stores the most fat, okay? And that is very key in terms of insulation. So it keeps our body warm, it manages our temperature, etc. And it acts as a further cushion to our skin. So hopefully you'll be able to label those diagrams for me and know what our 3 main sections of our skin is.
So three different sections, 3 different names here. Epidermis, dermis, hypodermis. It looks as if the dermis is the thickest part. Yes. And I'm wondering whether if you've got more hair in your skin, does that mean if you have a thicker part of the dermis, does it mean you got more hair in your skin? I don't know. I mean, it could be, or even the hypodermis. If you have more hypodermis, if that layer is thicker, does it mean you have more insulation in your skin?
Depends on the body part and what the function of that body part is. If the body part has a lot of muscle, then might not be a lot of fat. So it depends mostly on your body type, what you eat, and how you structure your body.
So everybody's different, kind of thing.
Everybody's different. Everyone has the amount of hair, less amount of hair. It depends on how you treat your body and what compositions are part of your body.
That's
okay.
Right. Yeah.
So let's go on to our second question, question number 2. And it says, define the following receptors, okay, of the somasensory system that enables the sense of touch. So lots of words here we're going to learn today, and these are very important receptors in our body. So let's kick start with the first one. We got the mechocanous receptors, okay, and these receptors detect the sensation of touch. So the first thing that our body touches, or the first thing that is picked up from our environment, are these receptors. So they give us the sensation of touch, okay? So they perceive the vibrations, the textures, and the pressures. What I mean by that is, for us to feel, okay, we need to pick up some information from the object. So if I've got this piece of paper here, and I touch it, my body picks up vibrations and pressure. So if it's hard, it's soft, and that travels up through our body and registers it as such, as soft or hard or bumpy, etc. And that gives us the texture or that sensation of touch. Next, we have the thermoreceptors. I'm sure you all have a pretty good idea on what the thermoreceptors are responsible for. So, as you can imagine, they detect different temperatures. Okay?
Okay, so we'll keep the slides up a little bit longer because I think some people are trying to pick up some of the things on that. Yeah,
that's fine. I can dwell a little bit more on this one. So thermoreceptors are in the dermis layer of our skin, the thick part of the skin, where some of our nerve cells can also be found. Okay.
That's where the hair follicles come from as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So it's all connected, all overlapped. Okay. So those receptors pick up different temperatures, either hot or cold. Now we have specialized cells within this receptor called hot receptors or cold receptors. Okay. So if we have cold receptors, typically they register anything below 35 degrees Celsius, okay, roughly. So anything lower than that, your cold receptors kick in and you start getting goosebumps to warn us about, oh, it's getting a bit chilly, or they bring messages to our brain saying it's getting cold outside, wrap up, okay?
So then the other thing I'm then wondering about is depending on what country you come from, whether you have more or less of those receptors.
So again, your body is very smart and you're created so specialized, okay? So different parts of the world, your body is climatized to different environments, okay? So if you're living in Africa or the Caribbean or South America, your cold receptor difference or barriers or gradient may be slightly lower than those that live in colder countries. Okay, so they're used to that. So the cold receptors pick up cold at a much higher level than others. Okay? And we have our hot receptors are typically start picking up anything over 30. So there's kind of an overlap here in the middle. So above 30, 35-ish, our body picks up warm or hot temperatures. And then our body starts to ask us to change either the way we dress or our activities that we're doing on that specific time. Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm going to move on. See, we have the pain receptors. So what are the pain receptors? So these detect pain. Of course, nice and simple. They detect pain. So these detect pain that may cause damage to our skin or may not cause damage to the skin, but they detect such damages, okay? Now, these can come in various forms, okay? We have the mechanical stimuli that detect cuts or sharp scratches that may break the skin, okay? So if you're cut by a knife or a paper cut, they detect those type of pains, okay? Then we have the thermal stimuli that detects burns, for example, okay? So those are surface damage. They don't penetrate the skin so much, and they don't do anything lower down, but there's surface damage to our skin, so like burns or spillages that touch our skin, okay? And those are thermal stimuli. And then we have the chemical stimuli, such as the insect bite. So anything that does pierce our skin and releases some toxins, okay? Those are what we call chemical stimuli. So an injection can be classed as, what's it called?
The chemical stimuli?
Yes, chemical damage. So what it does, it pierces your skin and releases toxins, okay? And that can be painful for some people.
Mosquito bites?
Mosquito bites, yes. So anything that's painful, that pierces our skin, can be classed as chemical stimuli, okay? So let's move on to our last one. We have proprioceptors. a little bit tricky. Okay, it's a bit of a hard one to understand, but they detect the changes in muscle length and muscle tension. So without these receptors, it's going to be very difficult to either feed ourselves or move or clothe ourselves or do any of those labels, because those receptors detect the strain of the instruments that we're using, the growth of those muscles in our body. Is it able to do what we require it to do? Is it able to move as flexibly as we want it to do? So those are very important in detecting how muscle and bones move around within our body.
So like a stitch?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So a stitch, when we strain ourselves or we laugh too much, our body is moving too much. So our pain receptors, our proprioceptors detect that for us and are able to work around that. Okay?
Okay.
That's that. Should we move on?
Yeah, I think we can move to the next slide, yeah?
So we know what the skin is made up, and we know some very important receptors that help aid us in exploring the world around us, okay? Either through pain or different temperatures. So let's move on to the next question. How much of the body does the skin occupy? So I'll give you 3 options, 3 different colors. I want you to guess for me which one you think is the correct answer. Okay? So 3 different colors. Are you ready? First color we have is yellow. So does skin occupy half of our body? Or we have green. Does skin occupy our entire body? Or we have blue. Less than half of your body. So I'll give you a couple seconds to think about the answer. Is it half your body, yellow, your entire body, or less than half of your body? Vernon, we've got some answers.
Not yet, not yet.
Not yet. Okay, give a couple more seconds.
Yeah.
So think about your body, touch your face, your arms. Think, oh, is there skin everywhere? And try and give me some answers. Any answers yet?
No. Let me see what people are going to say. Nothing yet. Some people saying green. Some people saying the blue.
Okay.
I'm thinking yellow as well too. Yep. Greens, yellow, entire body. Some are saying.
Okay, Thank you for your feedback. For those of you that said green, you guys are correct. So, skin occupies your entire body. Okay, even your eyelids, because in natural form your eyes are not open. Because your eyelids have skin, your face, the top of your head, your scalp is skin, your sole of your feet, skin is over your whole body. In fact, skin is so heavy that it weighs, is 16% of your body weight.
16.
16% of your body weight is part of your skin. Okay, it's made up of your skin. Okay, skin is quite heavy. Okay, and it covers your entire body. So well done for those that said green. Okay, we're gonna move on to question number 14, right at the back end, because it fits in with this section. And it says that explain some ways in which the sense of touch can be used to convey different emotion, and what percentage of our time do we communicate through touch. Okay, so there's loads of ways in which we can communicate with others. Okay, so for example, we can shake each other's hands. Not now, because COVID-19, but we can shake each other's hand as a way of communicating. Again, not now, but we can high five, we can fist pump, we can shoulder punch to communicate through the use of touch. Or we can, when you hug your parents, that can also be used to communicate touch.
Yes, so someone says to comfort.
Yes, yes. We can comfort people to convey touch, like a hug, or touch on their shoulder to communicate touch. Okay, and there's loads more examples. I'm sure you can send them through, and I'll pick it up a little later.
Yeah.
Okay. So while waiting for some responses, do you know that we communicate through touch over 50% of the time. So 50% of our interaction with other people, we are using touch. Can you imagine? So when you're talking to your friends, I'm sure you lot punch your friends or hit your friends, touch the shoulder. When you're laughing, you hear, ha, 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 all type of stuff. You use touch to communicate with each other. Have you got any couple of responses?
I'm not getting very many here. I'm not sure what's happening.
Okay.
So I guess we'll come back later for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna switch on.
21%.
21%?
Yeah, someone's in 21.
Okay. Well, the actual answer is 50. So jot that down.
Okay.
50% of our time we communicate via touch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a reminder that we are on question. That was question 14.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're switching it around. Okay, let's look at question 14 at the time. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to bounce back to question number 12. So define a difference between safe touch and bad, unsafe touch. So, before we touch anybody or communicate with anyone, we must seek permission to do so, okay? It's very important that we seek permission so we won't invade people's spaces or will not make them feel uncomfortable, okay? That's very important. So a good touch, for example, or an okay touch, okay, is touch that makes you feel like someone is helping you. So if you fall down and your mom picks you up and gives you a hug, she's helping you. So that's an example of a good touch, okay? If someone wants to say, well done, you did a good job there, and they give you a high five, that's an example of a good touch because they're helping you, they're praising you, okay?
And then someone says, Lisa says something, but we can touch people's hearts by saying good words.
Yes, exactly. So you can use words to touch someone's emotional side, okay? So that's what is defined as good touch. Now, bad touch, right. So bad touch is when someone makes you feel, unsafe, a bit ucky, okay, and you want them to stop, okay? You didn't give them permission to touch you, or you just don't want them to touch you. That's an example of a bad touch, okay? When you don't feel safe, or you don't feel that touch is helpful in any way, okay?
Do people have to learn what's good and safe touches?
Definitely. Everyone should know a list or a group of safe touches that's appropriate at different ages and for different people and different cultures.
I've got Oster who's saying that bad touch is by fighting them and saying rude words.
Exactly, well done. That's a good example. Hitting, punching is all forms of bad touch because you're not helping someone, it's making them feel very unsafe, scared, and they don't want that. No one wants to be punched or hit.
I got someone called Creative Camilla who's saying something quite unusual here. Kneeling down conveys obedience through touch. Not touching another person, but touching a surface.
Oh,
that's
okay.
Interesting.
That's very interesting. I never thought of that one.
Yeah.
I never thought that's a very good creative way of using touch. Well done. Thank you for your comments. We're going to move on to our next slide. So well done, guys. We have completed the what and how section of the honour. We're going to move straight into the purpose and change part of this honour, okay? So let's dive straight into it with question number 4. Okay? Yeah. Why is touch important? And do we need it for human interaction and life development? Is touch important? Do we need touch? So there's 2 words I want you to learn from this. And that is learning and navigation.
Before you go into that, I've got a question here from Claudia. Could bad touch be physically abusing someone?
Yes, if I go back, a bad touch is anything that makes someone feel uncomfortable, unsafe, and without permission. Okay. So if you physically abuse someone, either using bad words or touching them inappropriately that they don't want or don't feel comfortable with, that is bad. That is completely out of the question, okay? But in the long run, if you do feel that you're having someone bad touch or someone not treating you nicely, it's very important that you first say stop or you speak to someone that you feel safe with. So it can be a safe person, such as your mom, your dad, your grandparents, a teacher, anyone that is safe to you so you can stop the bad touch. Okay?
Important.
Yes. So, is touch important? So the two words here is learning and navigation. So as I said at the beginning, touch is another method of exploring the world. So what babies do and what we do now is when babies are crawling around and they're touching everywhere, if you have a little brother or sister or you have a child of your own, they touch everything. Why? Because they want to experience what does that feel like? What is that for?
Yeah.
Okay? So us as adults now, or when you're older Pathfinder, you know if you like something or something's good for you based on your memory as a child. So if you're a child, a young person, and you touch a stinging nettle, that's painful. That's a pain receptor. Oh, so you know now, now that you learned it, as you navigate through the world, you know, oh, that stinging nettle, I can't touch that. That's bad for you. So touch is very important because it helps us learn things, learn around the world. So as we navigate through our daily lives, we know what's good and bad for us. We know what touch is nice, what feels gooey, just by looking at them. So we don't even have to touch anymore.
So I guess it comes back to when we did the site on Friday.
Yes.
So the touch seems then to kind of link in with the site.
Exactly.
So if you see the stinging nettle,
You won't touch it.
because you've also felt it.
Yes, in the past time.
Yeah.
Okay?
Gotcha.
So it all works hand in hand. Okay? It's a way of learning our environment. And once we learn it, we can now experience and navigate through our life better.
Because someone who's saying that touch is a sign of curiosity.
Exactly. Yes. Babies, as I said, they explore the world through touch. They pick up things, they hold things and move things around their hands, all to get an idea of what touch is.
Okay.
Okay? So, 5. Explain how sense of touch changes with age. So when we get older, does our touch change? And then many of us
ages now.
So older people, yes, it does affect their touch a little bit, unfortunately, because the older we get, okay,
Be careful now.
the older we get, our skin and circulation changes. So for older folks, you may see them with baggier skin or looser skin, I'm sorry, or wrinkles, etc. That's mostly because our skin is changing. And when our skin changes and loses elasticity, the nerves, of course, weaken. And because they weaken, we're not able to be as sensitive to temperatures or motor skills, fine motor skills. When you get older, it can be quite dangerous with older people because they're not very sensitive with touch. So they might put their hand on a burning fire and not feel it as quicker. So touch does change with age. Okay?
Have you got ages for when these things happen?
Not exactly, because everyone ages at different times. But studies show over the age of 50 or mid-40s, our skin does tend to loosen. Okay? Our natural elasticity does seem to decrease. Okay, I'm not scaring anybody. But, drink plenty of water, plenty of exercise. I'm sure your skin will stay good and healthy for a very long time.
Yeah, so
okay?
to me it does say, that body function does slow down with age.
Yes, it does. But you can reduce that by keeping our body healthy and full of nutrition to keep our body as tight as we were when we were a baby.
There's something interesting from Khalees. She says that in different cultures, especially Asian cultures, gestures and touch are very specific for different ages, etc.
That can be very true. Some cultures prefer you to not touch your elders or bow down to your elders, etc., etc. So yeah, different age groups do require a different level of respect when it comes to touch. Okay. So let's move on. So, hyperesthesia, okay? What do we think it would be like without the sense of touch?
Hyperesthesia.
Yes.
Okay.
So, what does that mean? So, in simple terms, that means numbness. Numbness in our skin or in our body is often referred to as an alternative as hyperesthesia. So what does that mean? It's a big word. So it means the reduced sense of touch or sensation or the partial loss of sensitivity, mainly caused by irritation to a nerve or nerves. So, touching without feeling. So what I mean by that is that actually you can touch somebody and they may not necessarily feel that touch. Maybe very, very unsensitive. So they can see you touching it, but they can't feel the sensation of that touch.
Is that dangerous for them?
Ooh, it depends. So, if you got into a car accident and you hit your head and there's numbness around the localized area, that can be quite dangerous. That can be something serious later on. But technically, that is not exactly a dangerous thing. But it can develop into something very serious if it's not checked out or if it continues for a long period of time. Okay. So you can get that if you get an injection. When they put numbing around you, if you get your teeth fixed or cavity filled, they put a numbing, temporary numbing. But this is random or localized numbing on areas of your skin. Okay.
Did we skip question 6, right? Or are we coming back to that one?
That's coming in the next section.
All right. Okay, that's fine.
Follow me the question, guys. Follow me the questions, okay?
We're bouncing around, but...
Yes. All questions will be filled out completely, okay? So let's go on to... bouncing right to the end. Question 13. So what areas of the part of the skin are more sensitive than others? So, the more touch receptors we have, the greater the sensitivity. So what I mean by that is, our touch receptors are not scattered around the body in uniform. So 10 in your hand, 100 in your thigh. They're scattered randomly depending on where the pressure points are. So where there's maximum pressure. So
that's a new term we're bringing in here. Things about pressure points now.
Yes. So what I mean by that is stuff like your fingers, your lips, your back. They can tend to have more touch receptors because they deal with a lot of pressure. So you usually have to touch, and that's related to pressure. Our lips to eat or move. That's all related to pressure. So the higher the touch receptors in that localized area is the greater sensitivity we may have or may feel in those areas. So here's a little quiz. Okay. I'm going to give you 5 areas of the body, and I want you guys to try and guess which one is the most sensitive compared to the lowest sensitivity. So we have our calves, back of our feet. We have our cheeks, we have our back, we have our forehead, and we have our fingers. So quickly type, which one do you think is the highest, and which do you think has lower sensitivity? And whilst you type away your answers, how do we measure this? So,
how do you measure our sensitivity?
Yes.
Okay.
So many studies say it depends on our threshold distance. So our thickness of our skin, how far our layers, how close our layers are together, all detect the speed or the sensitivity of our areas. So the greater the distance in depth and layers, the less sensitive they are, but the higher or the smaller, the distance is, the more sensitive they are.
So can I come back to what we were talking about the first question about the 3 different layers, the dermis,
epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis. Yeah.
It depends on the depth of it.
Yes.
The sensitivity.
Yes.
Okay. And someone's asked a question. It's coming back to even this hypersensitivity. If you may have answered the question already, but what causes hypersensitivity in touch? That's from Regina. Okay,
so it all depends on if your nerves or a group of nerves are damaged. Okay. So if we hit our back, that's a lot of nerves that are not just a nervous central system. If we hit our back, there's loads of nerves that can be damaged or ruptured. Okay, and because of that, we could get numbing just to localize areas of that area. Okay.
And then someone's asking about numbing here. This is asking, when you feel numb because of being cold, is that still hyperesthesia?
Oh, it's a tricky one. Not exactly. That's more to do with our temperature and how we regulate our body. Okay. But when we are cold, yes, it does tend to damage our nervous system a little bit. So our body's telling us to warm up. to get our nerves back together. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
So let's go to this this example. So the most sensitive. Anyone has any guesses on that?
No, I'm not seeing that at the moment.
So I'm going to answer that for you.
1 second. Give me 1 moment. Fingers and back, feet, fingers and ears are most sensitive.
Okay.
Cheek, they're saying the highest.
Okay.
Cheek, yeah, fingers.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, fingers.
So, according to our study, fingers are probably the most highest or the sensitive part of our body because we feel everything with our fingers. So our fingers need a lot of receptors to understand what we're touching and explore our environment. Then we have our cheeks and our faces, it's very sensitive. Then we have our forehead. So the most exposed parts of our bodies are we seeing that has the most sensitivity. Okay. Then we have our back. Okay, which arguably has 39 millimeters of threshold. And last but not least, we have our calf. Okay, which is considered the most or least sensitive part of our body. Okay.
And someone's asking a question about your elbow. The skin on your elbow, is it the least sensitive bit of skin in your body?
Yeah. So this joint here does carry a lot of, it's a home to a lot of our neurons and our, I forgot the word now. Yes, it is very sensitive. It's less skin hair, more bony. Okay. And our bone covers a lot of our sensitivity parts. Okay. So let's move on. So well done, guys. We've completed the purpose and change part. We're going to quickly move on to the surface damage of our honour. So, question number 6. You asked me about that one a little while back.
Yep.
Is our skin affected by different temperatures? So, short answer, yes. Yes, different temperatures does affect our skin, and our skin reacts to different temperatures. So let's look at the cold. So what happens when it's cold outside or there's low, low temperature? So maybe in the cold, the air is much drier. Okay, so the air is much drier. That means there's less moisture for our skin. So what the air is doing is taking out all this air from our skin, leaving us with very dry and flaky skin, which we not necessarily want.
Kind of ashen skin.
Yes.
We don't want when you put any
hand gel cream.
Or cream on your skin.
Yes.
We understand these things.
So when it's very cold, our skin becomes very dry. So how do we protect our skin during the cold weather? So when it's snowing outside and we come home from school or work, we tend to go straight into the shower and put it on the highest heat possible.
Because it's cold.
Because it's cold outside. We want to get warm up very quickly.
Yeah.
And someone think that's fantastic. We get nice and warm, lovely. No. That is not good for your skin. Why is that not good for your skin? Because that actually dissolves the particles or the barriers of our skin, making it even more dry. Okay? So, we're meant to have lukewarm showers that help balance our protective parts of our skin to keep our skin healthy and full of the nutrients that it needs to not give us flakes and dry skin.
That's a hard one,
I know.
But I tell you what, we were at a camporee in Finland about 10 years ago, and what we enjoyed the experience of going into the sauna and then into the lakes afterwards, the cold lake. That was quite refreshing.
Did that in Norway too? Yes, that's fantastic.
And our skin felt much better.
Yes, we have a balanced temperature in our showers or in our rooms. That does help keep our skin together. Okay. Central heating. Don't put it on full blast, because when we put the full blast on in our houses, it dries the air. It may be warm, but it does dry the air out. Okay, so use creams that help moisturize or give us that nutrients in our skin, something that has a little bit of oil in it, just to keep our skin hydrated, okay? And if you live in Scotland or high places and lots of snow, sunscreen during the winter, yes, does help keep the rays or the reflection away from the snow that comes from the sun.
I think Yamikini is preempting your next question. What if it was warm? How would it affect our skin?
Okay, so let's go straight into that one. When it's hot outside, there's an increased loss of water within our body, often called dehydration. So our body is trying to soak in as much water as possible. Okay, and that too does also create damages to our skin, does make it dry, and often makes it very flaky when we get sunburns, because there's so much less moisture in our skin. Our skin reacts by peeling because it wants water. It's so dehydrated, okay? And that leads to red, sweaty skin. But when it's so hot, we're trying to bring in so much water, our skin releases toxins to try and help it bounce back. And that sometimes blocks our ducts within our skin, our pores, which creates very oily and sweaty skin. Okay, and that can lead to breakouts on our skin, our faces, our necks, and lots of rashes around our ears, etc. Okay, so that's what happens when the weather is very warm. Okay, so how to protect ourselves?
Well, you mentioned something about dehydration, so probably the opposite.
Yes. Fill your body up with water. Water keeps your skin plentiful and light and full of the nutrients needed to keep our skin healthy, okay? There's a study that says stay away from the sun between 11 and 2 because lots of UV lights and the sun is very hot during that period. So keep away or keep in the shade so the sun won't burn away on our skin.
What I'm hearing is something about a balance between what comes onto your skin from the outside and what comes up through your skin from the inside. So the water that you drink then comes to hydrate your system, but you still need to balance off with the protection from the outside.
Definitely. And in the summertime, try and avoid oily substances. That does again block your ducts and doesn't encourage flow of nutrients and hydration to keep your skin healthy and fresh.
When you say oily substances, you talk about foods as well?
Yes, food, because that also goes into your blood system and help patch up parts of your skin also, okay? So, healthy diet to keep yourself healthy and fresh too, okay?
Excellent.
Okay, so, big question. Do cosmetics help or hinder our skin? Now, Psalm 139 verse 14 says, you are fearfully and wonderfully made.
So don't go and buy anything?
Don't go and buy anything that will damage your skin, or make yourself look less than how God made you.
So no creams then?
Well, let's get into that. So I will define cosmetics as anything natural that helps or aids in helping your skin grow and keeping it strong, healthy, and fresh. Okay? Not pharmaceuticals, such as, powders, etc., etc.
Oil of Ulay.
Yeah. But try and keep it as natural as possible. So natural oils that have different purposes of balancing your pH level in your skin. Cucumbers, we also got honey, avocado, all those type of stuff that aids in giving your skin nutrition and the needed particles to help your skin grow and healthy and tight, okay? And also giving that nice, beautiful shine that makes us beautiful and wonderful, okay? So stay away from everything that blocks us or taints us. We don't want that. We want you all to remain as lovely as possible.
Someone's asking, does that include Vaseline?
Not exactly. Some people may argue different Vaselines have different products, etc. But Vaselines are typically good. They do help keep your lips, for example, or your hair. Some people use it for the hair. Keep it fresh, full of moisture to help aid its balancing and help aid its balancing its lips. Okay?
Yeah, someone's saying here about homemade, you can use some homemade products, which is better.
Homemade face masks.
A lot of the bad things for your skin. Yeah.
Yes, so use as natural products as possible. Why? Because they're natural. They're from the earth. That's what God gave you to use to make you great. Okay? Other things are not made from the earth, they're made from chemicals. And that can also damage your skin, especially have skin conditions like eczema that can irritate your skin. So keep it as natural as possible because different natural products benefit different skin types, different conditions you may have, etc.
Okay, so there's a couple more things here. You mentioned eczema, because I think you might come to that.
Yes, we will.
Right.
Yes.
But someone's asking a question here, also saying something about makeup. What about makeup?
I was trying to avoid that one. But makeup. So, Psalms 139 verse 14 says, "You're fearfully and wonderfully made." You don't need makeup because oftentimes, well, I don't wear makeup, but oftentimes studies does show makeup does put a layer that blocks your pores, that blocks your natural things in your skin that asks for oxygen and nutrients. So makeup does tend to block that. Okay, and it's not good for your skin. It doesn't keep your skin healthy. It dries your skin most of the time and doesn't give you that exuberant look.
Yeah, several people commenting about the chemicals in makeup, but then someone has also said too that virgin cold pressed coconut oil is good for the skin and is antibacterial.
We've got experts here. Yes, virgin oils, coconut oils, those are brilliant for the skin because they give you that nutrient, then what antibodies that you need to keep your skin healthy and safe. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. So, different skin disorders and conditions. So, we've got a list of those. We're going to whiz through those ones and hopefully you can understand some skin disorders.
Okay.
So, we have eczema, okay, which is very common. Most people know about eczema, which is a skin inflammation, okay, and it causes itchy or rashy skin around our body, okay. So that's eczema. Everyone got that one? Where's my skin? Then we have, I forgot to pronounce this word now. Actinic.
Yes.
We've got actinic keratosis, okay? Which is basically dry, patchy level skin, often caused by sun damage, okay? So when our sun burns us, when you go on holiday, I don't want to stay in the sun and, let all your life out in front of the sun. But it dries our skin and it creates very nasty looking scars which you don't want. So again, stay away from that.
A question on that. I mean, someone also mentioned natural shea butter is also excellent for the skin. Aloe vera. Someone talked about aloe vera.
Yeah, aloe vera is
for dry
perfect.
skin. But in terms of the sunbathing, we could use chemicals to block it, can we?
Yes, we can use natural chemicals to block it, and the good old sunscreen.
Okay.
But long exposures in the sun does eat up away from that too. Okay. So it's all about finding that balance. Okay. Okay. Let's go on to the next one. Oof, I've got to pronounce this one too.
Rosacea.
I've got to say it. But that's the word.
Rosacea.
Rosacea.
Okay.
So rosacea is a long-term condition, mainly about older people, but some young people have it too, and it gives you redness or blushing, permanent blushing, the vessels around your nose, your cheeks, sometimes goes your forehead too. Okay.
I've got an interesting question here. Or interesting point. When you hear the word itch, you normally start to itch yourself.
It's true. It's very contagious. When you yawn too, you start to yawn too.
Yeah.
When you itch, it's a sensation in your body that you have to itch too. Okay.
Okay.
So this is often common. You may see very clearly those with lighter complexions, but those with dark complexions can still be affected by this too, but might be hard to see. Okay. So then we have warts. Warts come in all shapes and sizes. Some are flat, some are round, some are bumpy. But warts are a virus infecting to the skin, and they especially excessive growing of our skin. Okay.
So that's interesting about it comes from a virus.
Yes. Okay. It's a viral infection. Okay, so how to avoid that? Keep ourselves clean. Body hygiene is very key. And if you're traveling different places, Again, body hygiene and sanitization is very important.
And I don't know if it's done can help by this. Someone mentioned turmeric face masks.
Yes, that's very good.
Different skin conditions.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Don't know the specific properties, but I have heard lots of studies about turmeric. It's very useful. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, last two we got cellulitis.
Yeah.
Basically, our dermis is inflated, so it puffs up. Okay.
The bottom.
That's our middle part of our layer.
Middle layer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Usually due to infections. Okay, something gets into our skin, our dermis, it flares up. Okay. And gives that red, warmish color against our skin. Okay.
And that's an area where those receptors are placed, and all
so that's what the flare up is.
The
hair follicles, the pain stimuli, all up
yeah.
in there. Okay. And last one on this, we have psoriasis. Okay, psoriasis. Sorry, I have a friend that has this. Okay, basically it's a skin condition that gives you red, flaky skin coverings. Okay. It's not always painful, but sometimes it can be very itchy or very irritant at times. Okay. But if mostly affects your arms or your back of your neck or your back, but it generally can affect any part of your body. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's those ones for you. And question number 10, which is explain how tattooing can damage your skin. So, tattoos, yes, on some of our favorite celebrities up on the street, they look lovely, they look nice, but they can cause some damages to our skin. So, if we look at, imagine a sewing machine, and we put our cloth in and jig, and it creates the pattern. That's quite similar to tattooing. So have a tattoo machine, we have 1 or 2 needles, and they basically sew in the ink into our skin, okay? Into the top layer of our skin, that meant to be protecting us, the epidermis, and they chuck it into that layer of our skin.
But then, if we feel it, if those who have had tattoos before, if they feel it, does it mean that the needle has gone past the epidermis?
Not necessarily, because if we just glaze the top of our hair is, our hair follicles come up for our skin. So that touches it too. Okay, and that brings it down to the root, which then goes through to the body. So damages can occur when we get in tattoos. Such as we can get allergic reaction from the ink, because different ink can affect our skin. And so what are they made of? Okay, we get some skin infections, or it can heighten our skin infections if you've got like eczema or some other skin scarring issues. It does sometimes inflame our skin. Our skin doesn't want to be injected so many times in that certain area. So our skin can inflate, can create blood scarring, etc. Okay. So what does the Bible say? What does the Bible say? In Leviticus, it says, in simple words, do not put tattoo marks on yourselves. I am the Lord. Why? Because the Lord wants you to be perfect how he made you. Because when he made you, he looked back and said, you look good. You're wonderful. So because you're wonderful, you don't need anything else to enhance it. It doesn't enhance anything. Okay, you look perfect just the way you are.
And there are a couple comments about tattoos here. One is about why is it so difficult to remove. And another one is about getting skin poisoning if the ink can't. How do we get skin poisoning if the ink can't go down into the skin? But it does go down into the skin.
It does go down into the skin.
Yeah.
So what it does, it pigments your epidermis. Okay, but that toxin does go further down into your skin layer to give it that permanent look.
Okay.
Now it's hard to come out because it's so sunken into your skin. Doesn't just stay on the top layer. It does go down to give it that neutral color. Then when you're taking it out, the first layer is just basically just the top layer. Okay. They got to go back over it again to really concentrate your skin down. So it burns the skin to get down all the ink out of the other layers of your skin. That's why it's so hard and painful.
That's why it's hard to remove,
Okay. So you don't completely get rid of it in one go. It takes a very long time to come out of. So if it's your first session, it might take at least 6 months to heal before you go back again. So long story short, don't get tattoos.
Yeah. Just a reminder, this is a touch honor, but all these things are affected by touch, or touch is affected by all these aspects, and we're studying about this.
Yes, so our skin is basically touch, okay? We use our skin, that's the first layer that comes into interaction with touch, okay?
Yes, yes.
Well done, guys. We finished the surface damage section. On to our last section, which I'm sure you can read the text at home, but it's question number 11.
Okay.
Okay, this is our last question. If I can find my notes properly. Okay, so explain how the Bible illustrates touch from each of the following perspectives. We got sanctification, we got healing and grace, we have strength and encouragement and defilement. So in sanctification, I'll just go over it quickly for you, is God can use touch to make us holy. God can use touch to make us clean and make us better, make us holier than thou, okay? Like the woman that touched the hem of his garment, God used her touch on Jesus, made her whole, made her sanctified, okay? Made her a new being, okay? If we go on to healing and grace, okay? God can use touch to heal us and mend us. So like the blind man, God used clay to use across his face to heal him, to make him see. Okay? So God can use touch to heal us.
So Jesus was touching people sometimes.
Yes.
Yes.
So Jesus touched to say you are healed, or get up and walk, etc. Okay? We have let's go on to strengthen and encouragement. As I said before, you can use your words to touch someone's heart, okay? Jesus often used words when he talks to Jeremiah and his people to give them a sense of encouragement, okay? To give them that group force to go out.
So the deep touch.
Yes.
Right inside.
Yes, right inside. Spiritual touch, okay? And lastly, we've got defilement, which is all about, how can we use touch to stay away from things? So God says, do not touch such foods, do not touch a tree, just say, this is our limit. Don't go past this. This is bad. Remove from this. That's all about defilement. Do not defile God by touching. Do not defile God by touching things that he considers unclean or unhealthy for our skin and body. Okay, guys?
Yeah.
So, well done. We have finished all areas of the touch honor. So hopefully by this you have learned what and how is touch used. You've learned the purpose of touch and changes, its surface damages to our skin, etc., and what God uses us to make touch possible. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you, Alberto. It's very good.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank
I
you.
hope you take this in and complete the requirements on your worksheet and have them ready for your club leaders to check them through once you're finished. Send your pictures in and other things you've got. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
This world is not what it was meant to be. All this pain, all this suffering. There's a better place waiting for me in heaven. Every tear will be wiped away. Every sorrow and sin erased. We'll dance on seas of amazing grace in heaven. In heaven, I'm going home where the streets are golden. Every chain is broken. Oh, I wanna go. Oh, I wanna go home. Every fear is gone. In heaven, I'm going home where the streets are golden. Every chain is broken. Oh, I wanna go. Oh, I wanna go home. Every fear is gone. I'm in your open arms where I belong.
Okay.
Go ahead, Trevor. Area coordinator,
Brethren,
Trevor.
Pathfinders across the SEC, good to have you on board. Last couple of sessions before we close up Camporee, E-Camporee, the first of its kind in the SEC. Glad to have you for one of our last sessions. Today we have the smell. I have a pot on the fire and I'm smelling it, so I know my nose is working well. I can't leave it up. I can't attend to my pot. However, listen to me. There are two people standing before you this evening who will guide you through the smell honor. Now, I have a big nose. Please notice. But I recognize my nose has many functions. And Jimmy Masanga from the Balam, Battersea Seventh Adventist Church, Pathfinder, master guy doing his PLP. And there's a lady next to him who I haven't met, but I'm told she's one of my country people. Salisha, glad to have you on board. And I'm told that you are from Basildon. Now, I don't know how much you know, but I feel you know much more than me. So this afternoon, I want you to clear up all the questions that our Pathfinders may have. And look, let me stop talking. Get on with the smell, please. Please get on with the smell. I need to learn some more. Thank you very much. And I'm here to help if there's a need to. But these are professionals. They have studied this thing and they are ready. Good to have you on board. Let us pray before we begin. Father in heaven, we pray, dear Lord, that you will bless us with an understanding of how important our bodies are. You have created it. You know everything about it. And here, Lord, we are ushering into this smell, nose, organ. Lord, you have been wonderful. We pray that you will bless our presenters. May they feel your presence and do the task that is set before them with joy unspeakable for your honor and your glory, for the benefit of our Pathfinders across the SEC. We thank you, Lord, for hearing our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. Please go ahead. Glad to have you on board. Let's go. I'm learning.
Are we ready? Is it back on us? Cool. Yeah. Right. Welcome everybody. As it was said, yes, I'm Jimmy. This is Salisha, and you're gonna go through the smell honor. Now, just checking, I did have a shower. I was actually attempting not to have a shower just to enhance the smell honor, so you could smell me from afar. But then you know how it is. Sometimes you just gotta work with what you have. My wife said have a shower. It might embarrass me. Never mind. Yeah. So the first thing on your worksheet that you have is let's look at the requirements. There's 13 requirements, and it looks like it's a lot of things to learn. But do not worry. Don't worry about it flashing over the screen and trying to read everything. We are going to go through them one by one. So by the time we finish, we've got 45 minutes, you'll be experts. So let's go. The first part, we need to know and be able to identify the parts of the main organ responsible for smell, the olfactory system. So what is this part? What's responsible for smell? Do the Pathfinders know?
Let's see what comes up. Do they know? I haven't got anything up yet.
Okay.
Things that are responsible for smell. The nose, yes, nose, yep, nose.
The nose has several parts. Now, what you're looking at, the nose, you can see now talks about looking at it from the front perspective, so you can see the sinus, the cork. This part is where you say, I've got sinus, people can't really smell. This is the area we're looking at the top of your nose. The second part, which is in your answer sheet, asks you to label the parts. Now, on your answer sheet, if you look at the bottom, the last one on your answer sheet, it's the nasal cavity. which is the area you're looking at now. I wish if I had a mouse, I would be pointing around right in the middle where you see the super tubelets. That area, just as you go through your nose, so around here, right in the middle, that's called the nasal cavity, where you've got these 3 layers. Now, these 3 layers have mucus, and that's what catches a lot of stuff. If you have a blocked nose, for example, or you can't really breathe properly, they would have been blocked. Or you could have had an infection. On top of that, you've got now where the air comes through. So the air comes through. Now, the simplest term, we all know it as the nasal cavity. All right, sorry about that. But so through your nostrils, through these 2, is how air comes through, the nostrils. So that is the one at the top. And then just above that, what you're answering, you see 3 arrows hitting at the top. That's the tubelets. So Turbinate, right? They're very, very, very important. And just above that one, so on your worksheet, you can see they're like little hairs, little small hairs, they're receptors. So these are the ones that actually will catch all the molecules or the particles of smell. They are very, very sensitive. So those are called the olfactory nerves, or receptors. And they, once you go up there, then it moves on to the olfactory epidermis, just right at the back. And then on top, the last one is the olfactory bulb, which is right at the top of your worksheet. And then on top of that, just on top, you got the cerebellum. So those are some of the things that, you know, are parts of the nose. There's several parts. We've given you actually more on this picture, so you can see much more than that. But these are just some of the things. A question was asked to say, so this is for those, another picture just to explain how it works. So you can see the nasal cavity is right in the middle, where you had the 3 pointing for the arrow, and then you had the top, the olfactory bulb, which has a connection with the epidermis, and then you've got the little hairs. Next question, how does the brain help with the sense of smell? That's a very, very good question. How does it help? So your brain basically will store all the information about different types of smells, and it will associate them. For example, if there's danger, there's something that is nice, something not nice, it stores all that up so that as you smell, it's able to alert you other senses on how to react. So it's very, 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 very important. So that is requirement number 2. Now we're going to number 3.
Someone's asking, just before you go on.
Someone's asking about the bottom area that on your diagram again.
I'll go quickly back. Yes. The bottom area.
Yeah, what was that?
So underneath the cavity.
Yeah.
So underneath the cavity, obviously, so here it is. So if you look at my nose, so your nose, you come through there, and at the back of your nose, here, at the back, that's the nose cavity right at the back. But are you talking through the mouth?
It could be, this is the oral cavity.
The oral cavity
is you got something called the retronasal passage.
That passage is actually coming through your throat. So you breathe through your mouth. So the oral cavity you're looking at is your mouth.
Yeah.
And then what happens is that they all meet up down here on your throat, the esophagus. So everything goes down, and then from the esophagus, it goes into your lungs.
Okay.
So remember, the nose actually filters and does a lot of protection for your body. So air comes in and foreign objects, so it has to stop bad things going in and only bring in oxygen right to your lungs, circulate, and then back throughout carbon dioxide.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Requirement number 3. So those are some of the pictures I had. And that's it working in your brain. This again is just showing you how it circulates in the brain. Yeah?
Okay.
So you were smelling. So as you smell, the smell, so it goes through your nose and it's going up there of the old bowl. Then from the old bowl, your lower lobe, and it's sending a signal about in your brain and telling it, register this, is it nice, is it not terrible, and all the different aspects of it.
Okay, so this is question number 3.
Yes.
We covered question number 2, which was about the different parts of the nasal cavity and the olfactory system.
Number 3 is lack of smell.
Lack of smell.
How does
Okay,
that affect?
so that's question number 3.
Yes.
Okay, so we're on to question number 3 now.
Yeah.
All right.
How
let's
does the lack of smell
affect.
affect your everyday living?
Okay, okay.
I would ask you the question. What do you think? What does the lack of smell, or how does the lack of smell affect your daily living? What do you think?
Okay, let's see what comes up. We're waiting for some answers to come through. How does the lack of smell affect your everyday living?
Dying to press the button.
Don't press it yet. Don't press it yet. Your food tastes weird. Karen says.
Yeah.
Your food taste affects how you taste your food. That's another question. You can eat food that is gone off.
Oh.
When your brain
Can't tell if it's if it's dangerous, nasty, or nice.
Wow.
Yeah. Stops us from being aware of our surroundings.
Area coordinator Trevor said something was, how did he know that his pot, he said he could smell that he needs to go and attend to his pot. So if he didn't know, he could cause a fire. So all the things that you actually said are actually correct, and that's your answer for number 3.
Yeah.
I was going to go into it, but since you've given me the answer, kudos to you, well done. So I was just going to go straight to requirement number 4.
Okay.
So requirement number 4 actually now discusses about, one second, write down some memories associated with your sense of smell.
Before you go on to that though,
Dalen's got a question here. He says, how can you smell danger?
Whoa.
how can you smell danger?
How can you smell danger? All right. I'll go a little bit into more science. So in terms of if you had, for example, you were in the bush, how can you smell a lion? A lion, they have a scent of smell about them because they don't really have a shower and use shower gel as we do. They don't have a bath, so they smell. So when they are in a position, for example, they're in front of you and the wind goes around their body, it picks that smell and that smell comes towards you. So you could smell this, something smells different. That's one way of smelling danger. And that is actually how lions, what they do when they're hunting, they always make sure that that their prey is not in the direction of the wind. They always have to be behind so that the prey does not actually know that they are coming.
Okay, so some things can
smell dangerous because we know that the smell represents a thing.
Yes.
And you can smell the thing and you know it represents danger.
Yes.
Okay, that's good answer.
The animals use it for marking as well. They mark their territories.
Okay.
So you realize, there's something dangerous. So you see dogs weeing everywhere. They're not just weeing, they're actually marking their territory on your tires.
But someone also talked about
when things are burning, but it's a difference between a barbecue burning, you think it smells nice, to that of your chicken burning in the pot because you know it doesn't smell good.
And your house on fire.
Yeah, or your house on fire.
Another one is if you think about gases. So we're Pathfinders, we go camping. So if you leave your gas stove on, what happens? when you get in, you will smell danger because you smell all the gases.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is very, very important.
Someone also says,
So when something smells fishy.
He's definitely not a vegetarian. So,
but those, again, that's our association. So why don't you write down, what are your memories? You know, when you smell, what memories do you have that you can associate danger, or you can associate something nice? Write down your experience, because that is actually the best answer, I think, for number 4. And it will be so unique. All right, we're going to slowly move on to requirement number 5. And requirement number 5, I do recall, says, how do you clean your nose? I have no idea with this one. I'm not too sure. Do you stick a toilet brush in your nose? I mean, how is this done? Salisha, I mean, do you have any ideas?
I could only tell you how I clean my nose. And I think it works because I could smell just fine.
All right.
The way I clean my nose is when I wash my face, I use my fingers or a washcloth to clean my nose. Yeah? And then obviously you wash your hands after. So I have a cute little picture here. And make sure you wash properly, because not washing your nose and cleaning it out can have a lot of consequences as a result of not cleaning your nose properly. Because what, Jimmy was talking about, all those little hairs in your nose, they have functions. And if those hairs and those receptors get blocked, they won't be able to do the job that they're meant to do. And as we go on, we will see that the nose and every single part that he actually spoke about has a unique function. So what those little hairs do is they filter the air around us, and in so filtering, they pick up a lot of dust. And that's why you get all the, what you call bogey in your nose. You have to clean it out, because if it's not clean, it becomes clogged, and then you start smelling. When you smell, the dust and everything goes onto your lungs. Once it's in your lungs now, that's when the problems begin, especially if you have lung conditions like asthma. We have a lot of asthmatic, children. And so we just want to ensure that in order to maintain the physical health of your body, you need to actually keep those nostrils clean. And there's nothing wrong in cleaning your nose, but don't overdo it, because there is a lining in there, and that lining is meant to be moist. So don't constantly keep washing your nose. I mean, when you have your bath once, twice a day, how many ever times, that's sufficient. You don't have to go every hour to clean your nose, because it will dry out the inside of your nose. Yeah?
Saying that you can use a cotton bud to clean your nose.
Well, I won't recommend a cotton bud, because those have fibers on them. And when they get in there, it can actually cause you to sneeze. And those things, they're irritants. So you don't want to irritate your nose. And some people are allergic to those things as well. So you want to try and stay away from anything that can, break up into fine little pieces. Just like cotton buds, you don't use cotton buds to clean inside your ears. A lot of people do, but it's not meant for that. It's meant to clean the outside of the ear, not inside.
Okay. And then
someone said also that you can use a flannel by putting a finger in the flannel and wipe out your nose. Do it gently.
That's right.
They're saying, yeah.
That's right.
Can we, they want us to slow down a little bit, but they think they're running too fast for them with this slide. So let's slow down a little bit, they say. Yeah. Here's someone talking about a memory. Here's a memory. At my house, we know it's Sabbath because my mom bakes bread.
Nice.
What's your address?
That's
sorry.
That's a nice memory.
Yes, lovely memory.
Anything else from the Pathfinders out there?
You can use wipes or tissues to clean your nose, they're saying.
I'm not so sure about tissues, because tissues also have particles.
Yeah.
Okay.
So even when
you blow your nose, then.
Yeah, even that toilet tissue.
When you're blowing your nose, I remember one of my young sister said to me, "Don't use toilet tissue to blow your nose, because there's loads of particles. So if you actually get tissues and you actually rub it, you see that there'll be particles.
Fine particles.
Yeah.
And those will actually irritate and make
Okay.
it worse.
Okay. Someone's asking, can you use soap to clean out your nose?
I won't recommend soap. No, I just recommend warm water. When you
Okay.
wash your face, you just clean inside your nose with your fingers or a washcloth, as somebody
Washcloth.
said.
Okay. Okay. All right. So no cotton buds.
No tissues.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, here's a memory. Memories of fresh cut grass and fresh bread. That is, yes, memories, fresh cut grass and fresh bread. Yeah.
For me,
Okay.
when it rains,
When it rains and you're outside in the grass, that smell just like, it's heaven. It's heaven.
Okay. All right.
Are the Pathfinders ready for us to
That's
go
okay.
on?
There's one more question here.
One more
Yeah.
question.
Is it true, before you continue, is it true that snot prevents bacteria from entering your system?
snot. So
Snot itself actually is not bad because that's what actually traps a lot of things going into your system. It's
Okay.
because your nose actually filters. So your nose filters and cleans the air before it goes
gets to
into
the
your
lungs.
lungs.
Okay.
Even that you notice your nose goes like up and down. So you got that muscle there. It also manages the pressure of how the air comes in because it has to be at a particular temperature.
Okay.
Yeah, but the snot is a waste product, so you don't want to leave the snot in your nose. That's why it's important to clean it, because it's actually a waste product.
Yeah.
So you
Okay.
want to get it out of your nose, safely.
Yeah.
You don't want to
Okay.
be pushing anything, especially,
No.
the younger children. You don't want them to be, especially the cotton buds. You
Yeah.
don't want to be pushing those things because the nose, and it's very closely linked to the brain, and there's a small margin between them. So you don't want to be pushing anything into your nose at all.
Okay.
Remember that the olfactory is just on top, which
Okay.
is actually connected to the lobe of your
Yeah.
brain. So as you poke, you can quite easily poke that. So
Okay.
Yeah, and
stay away.
that's right. And there are some neurosurgical operations that they actually perform going through the nose. And it
Okay.
depends on where the malfunction is and where the surgeons need to get to.
Yeah.
They go through the nose. And that's how
Okay.
closely linked they are.
Okay. So
Yeah.
some of the memories of smoke from campfires, unseasoned chicken. when
When
I
I smell unseasoned chicken, I think of my old school. Ha ha.
I don't think.
I think this is a counselor.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Ready to go on?
Memories of delicious fried chicken. Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Right,
So
we're on requirement number 6.
okay.
Why is the nose... Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, why is the nose important for our well-being and development?
Well, just imagine if you didn't have a nose, what will happen to you?
Well, let's see. How would you look like?
Well, we just mentioned that the nose is very important in breathing. If you didn't have a nose, I don't know what you will have. You might just have God may have created us with something else so that we can get the air in there. But fortunately, he created us with a nose. So that's what we use mainly for breathing. What the nose does, which was mentioned just earlier, is that it warms, moistens, and filters the air before it goes into the lungs. Now, Jimmy, I want you to breathe through your mouth. Just breathe through your mouth while I keep going on.
How quick?
Just breathe. Just keep breathing through your mouth. What is happening? What is happening?
Do I need to stop breathing?
Through your mouth. Just keep breathing through your mouth. What should happen is what oxygen does, it has a drying effect. And so what the nose in turn does, it warms that air before it actually gets into the lungs. Because I'm a nurse, And I've looked after patients with tracheostomies, which means that the oxygen doesn't go through their nose, it goes straight through their trachea into the lungs. So what we constantly need to do is provide mouth care for those patients, because if we don't do that, their mouths will become very, very dry, and the air that goes in through the tracheostomy, it needs to be moistened.
I did feel that. When
it became very dry.
It was just drying up, and I was wondering.
He didn't know what to look for.
Because I was trying to hold my breath. I thought she's trying to make me hold my breath.
Yeah, so the nose has a very, very important function in warming up the air before it actually gets into the lungs.
I have a question here, but you
got something about hair on your nose, and someone says, should you trim nostril hairs?
Some people do because it grows out and it's quite long. I think you can. But you shouldn't be putting scissors up inside your nose to trim those ones that are in there. But just the ones that grow out. I think I've seen it in some, especially the male folk. You have like hairs growing out. You don't want to be doing. You don't want to be doing what Mr. Bean is doing.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the nose, it filters the air from physical impurities using the fine hairs or cilia in the nasal cavity. So you don't want to take them away because they serve a very, very important function.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a question here about
how come some people have stronger smell than others?
Oh, we come into that.
You're
jumping ahead.
Yeah. Hold on your horses.
no problem. Here's another
Memory, as we coming through from Josiah, even when I'm outside, I know that mommy is cooking because of a baking smell, baking scent.
Yes, excellent.
People are making me hungry, you know?
Excellent. So the nose as well. Just imagine yourself without your nose. Yeah, and we had a very funny picture. I just want to mention the person who did this PowerPoint presentation. Jimmy, you want to mention the person who did this PowerPoint presentation?
If I remember her name, she's a TLT and she's a special person, Junicia Jackman. She's the one who did the PowerPoint for us. We gave her all the information. She's one of our TLTs. Well done. Excellent. So everybody, please give her a hand. And when you see her from Basington, just give her a big hug and say, well done.
So all the fumbling is because we didn't put the presentation together. So anyhow.
Fine, no problem.
I thought that was natural.
I got another question, sorry. Is it true that
snot prevents bugs and bacteria from entering your nose like airwax?
No, that's not true. If I take you back to this picture here, the snot, like I said, is a byproduct. It's a waste product of breathing. So you really want to clear it out, because if that remains there, it's going to prevent these little hairs from doing what it's meant to do.
Okay.
So that's why it's important to clean. Why would you blow those things out? Because your body naturally tells you it doesn't belong there.
Okay. One last question related to snot before we move on.
Is it good to eat your snot as some people do it?
No, it's a waste product. It's a waste product from the body, so you don't eat it.
Right, so we put the snot to bed now, okay?
Let's put the snot to bed. Don't eat your snot. It's a waste byproduct.
Yeah, the jury's out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
thou shalt not eat snot. 11th commandment.
Oops, I pressed something.
Okay.
Right, we all know who this is, the famous Mr. Will Smith. That's how he would look without a nose, but very handsome with a nose. So it adds to our overall beauty as human beings by having these noses. And as was mentioned in the touch honor from Psalms 139 verse 4, we are fearfully and wonderfully made. You know, as Jimmy was talking about, you know, how all the parts just fit together in the right portions in the right place. That is the verse that kept coming to me over and over and over again. We are so fearfully and wonderfully made. So don't go be interfering with your nose. I mean, I know some of us, we have some body image issues sometimes, but don't go and take your nose and make it into something that God didn't make it.
Yeah.
You know, just appreciate that nose that you have. Whatever shape or size it is, it comes it makes you beautiful. It makes you who you are.
And and someone is saying, Caleb is saying, without the nose, you won't be able to taste your food.
That's right.
Yes.
We're coming to that. All these pathfinders, they're experts.
Good.
Go back to the older ones, teach the younger ones.
Yep.
For us who wears glasses now, the nose helps support the glasses. Imagine if you didn't have a nose.
Yeah, them too, not me, sorry.
They might have to make glasses like this with an artificial nose so that we are able to wear it properly. But yes, we do need our nose for practical things of everyday life, like wearing the glasses. Yes, Vernon. Right, that was requirement number 6. If you have any comments, please send it via the chat and we will address it.
I got a question here.
How do you diagnose someone who struggles to breathe through their nose and has to breathe through their mouth? Or how do you diagnose, or how do you treat someone? Probably.
You go to your GP. There might be a multitude of reasons why you may have an issue with not being able. There might be a blockage. There's polyps, something called polyps, which are little fatty things that grow that prevents you from actually smelling or allowing the nose to do the function that it's meant to do. Some people suffer from sinusitis, which is an inflammation of the lining in the nose. So the first thing you need to do is to get a diagnosis, find out what the problem is and what is causing that. And the treatment can vary from, those nasal sprays to natural remedies where you have the steam, steam peppermint oil, Olbas oil, and you put your head over the towel and just inhale. So all those things are natural remedies of trying to alleviate what the problem is. But the key thing is to always find out what the cause of the problem is.
Okay.
So remember, in the nasal cavity, when in question number 1, when you actually labeled it, that's the area. It could be an infection there. It could be so many things. As Alicia said, you have to get the doctor to double check just to see, because it could be something that could be just using natural remedies, or
you need
surgery.
Okay.
But everybody's different.
That's right.
Another memory here, lovely memory. We popping up with these memories.
Delia says, I know it's Christmas because my mum bakes bread and cake.
Yes.
The smell.
The food, yes. Yeah.
I've heard so much. This is the third person talking about bread.
Food. And there's a reason for that, There's a reason why a lot of people are sending in on the chat about taste and smell and the memories and the food. And we will come to that in a little while.
Okay.
So how many different kinds of smell can a human being, be distinguished?
Well, when I read this question and I read the answers for it, I just had to say, you know what? We are fearfully and wonderfully made. The humans have roughly 400 types of scent receptors that can detect at least 1 trillion different odors.
1 trillion?
1 trillion different odors, yes.
How did the trillion fit in this?
Exactly. That's why I can't give you the answers for the requirement. I just have to say we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And the thing is, when you read the articles, I have an article that I want you to actually take a note of and go and read it. And the name of the article is Human Nose Can Detect 1 Trillion Odors. That's the name of the article. And it's on nature.com. And it's written by Jessica Morrison.
Okay, so we need to send this on the chat by Jessica
Morrison.
And it is
nature.com.
Nature.com.
Human nose can detect 1 trillion odors.
Human nose can detect 1 trillion odors. That's all our communications team can put that up. It's nature.com.
Human nose can detect 1 trillion odors. And it's written by? Jessica Morrison. Okay, so they'll put up in the chat for everyone, and they can access that document. Okay, go ahead.
That looks like me.
Now, we talked about the olfactory system in the beginning, and that was requirement 1, and we've come all the way now to requirement 7. And we see that the receptors in the nose, they activate the things that are around us, and that's what helps us to pick up on all these smells. But because we have become so used to certain smells, we seem to not smell them anymore, and we will only smell something that is new or different. So for example, if you were to leave your home and go into somebody else's home, you will smell a difference. Do you encounter that, Pathfinders? Just send it in your chat, because there's a thing called adaptation. Because you're in a particular environment and in a particular surrounding, you're used to your smell, aren't you?
Yes.
And
I smell nice.
And when you go into somebody else's home, they might have a different air freshener.
Yeah, true.
So you walk in
Scent candles and
and you walk into their home and you will smell something different. But to the person who is actually there, they're not smelling that because they're so used to the smell.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know? Yeah.
And people say yes. They
Yeah.
yeah.
This is why you see pigs are so happy wallowing in themselves. They don't really regard the smell. They're so used to it.
They're so used to it. Yeah.
And someone
is saying every family has a certain smell.
You beat me to it. Yes, everyone has their own smell, and
Really?
we know that. Yeah. Oh. Like my daughter gave me this example when they were in their classroom and they changed for physical education for PE. All the clothes were like the same, but they were able to find their clothes by smelling it.
True.
So it depends on the detergent that you use, that will add to the smell, but your body has a natural smell. And there might be things that you will use, for example, an underarm deodorant or a perfume that will probably make you smell a certain way. But we all smell different. And one of the scientists said our smell is as individualized as our fingerprint.
Yep.
And that's amazing.
And someone's given a big word here for this. I talked about
body odor, and also talked about our pheromones.
What?
Okay.
Maybe they could tell us a little bit about it.
If anyone wants to write any more about the pheromones,
you can write something about that on the chat.
Please do. We're all here to learn. There's so much. This is just a tip of the iceberg.
It's a tip of the iceberg.
A tip, especially with requirement number 8. The genetics associated with smell. This is a specialty in medicine all by itself. There are books and articles upon articles based on this requirement alone. So what we're going to do is just
tip of the iceberg.
Tip of the iceberg, just the tip of the iceberg. And the genetics associated with smell is that we are all born with different types of olfactory receptor cells. And because these cells are different, we will smell different things. Have you encountered, Pathfinders? Send it on the chat. A situation where you were in and you were smelling this something and the person you were with was like, was she smelling? Send it via the chat. It's because we are born with certain receptors and it's individualized. Like we say, our sense of smell is as individualized as our fingerprint.
I actually got home yesterday and the gas was on and nobody in the house knew. The moment I came into the house, I was like, the gas is on.
Yeah, but that could have been because they were there.
Yes.
And they had gotten used to the smell.
Exactly. Okay. They were there already, and I just opened the door from outside, and I was like, okay, that is, like we said, danger. So I could smell the danger, whereas they couldn't.
That's right. That's right.
I've got a couple of questions here.
One may be related to what we to the honor, but it still deals with the nose. And the other one is about hay fever. Is hay fever a genetic thing? That we just start talking about genetics.
And then the other question is,
how do we deal with nose blocks when blowing doesn't help? I'm not sure if you can handle that one, because it's about nose, but
block?
yeah.
The nose block. When you blow your nose, You can blow your nose, but you shouldn't blow your nose too hard. Because there are very sensitive vessels in your nose. You can actually cause a rupture and cause a nosebleed.
Okay.
So you don't want to do that. But you can gently is the key word, gently blow your nose.
Yeah, someone talked about
Nosebleeds earlier as well too, and how having an experience of nosebleeds, being to the doctor, and they use something to block the nose. It stung a bit, but it helped. So they've had to go to the doctor to help with nosebleeds. So this thing about hay fever.
Yes. You know, I never suffered from hay fever when I was in Trinidad. But when I came to this country, my nose, for some reason, became very sensitive to the pollen, the trees, the flowers, because they were different. Now, I do suffer with hay fever, and I don't know, I don't think it's genetic, I think it's environmental.
Yeah.
And there are remedies that you can use. They say honey that you get from the local area in which you live, but you have to start taking that from way before. If you don't have anything against using the medication that they sell over the counter, they have things like cetirizine and loratadine, which is just 1 tablet a day. Some I know, Councillor Tyrone, he takes all of them because he suffers a lot with hay fever. And they have the nasal sprays as well. They do relieve it.
There's elder plant with a bit of honey and lemon.
Okay.
As
And
well.
that helps with that as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's quite a few natural remedies.
Eucalyptus.
Yeah.
Eucalyptus inhalation.
Yeah.
So there's quite a lot.
Okay.
To be honest.
All right. A couple of questions.
Questions here. One is, can your natural scent change with age? You may come to that. And another one is, someone's given an experience when your nose is blocked in the morning on one side, sometimes for him or her, it goes on the other side, and later on. How does this work?
You want to address
No,
that?
no.
All right.
Feel free. I'm a gentleman. Ladies first.
When you say the other side and the other side, it's 2 entrances, but it's one
side.
space,
Yeah.
one space on the inside, and so it's not one side or the other. It's there, and because you're in one position, it might feel as though it's on one side. When you go on that side, it just moves onto the other side.
Yeah.
So it's a very close knit system.
It's not two.
It's not a dividing line in between.
This doesn't
there.
divide the two.
No.
Okay.
No.
It doesn't.
All right.
It just lets the air goes in and they all come up in the same area.
So does your natural scent
Change with age.
Well, I think your natural scent changes with what you use. I mean, when you're as you grow up and you use different things to probably wash your clothes or to use on your body, the cream and oil, whatever you use, that will make the change. But I think the natural scent that you have will remain the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we move on to
The
the
next question.
Yeah, please. Number 9. In what ways is the sense of smell related to other senses? And this is where we come to everybody in the chat and the memories. They were sending things about food and cakes and baking and all of that, because taste is the closest sense that is related to smell. And I believe we did taste on Friday. And that's for obvious reasons, because they're so closely linked together. And so in order to enjoy food properly, it must not only taste good, but it must also smell good. And I'm telling you, digestion does not begin when you actually put the food in your mouth. Digestion of a particular food begins from the time you smell that food. Because from the time you smell that food, your mouth, the salivary glands in your mouth starts producing saliva, which starts to break down the food. And for those Pathfinders out there who like chewing gum, it is not a good practice, because what happens is you're feeding the salivary glands and telling the salivary glands that there is something there that needs to be digested, when in truth and in fact, there is nothing there to be digested, and you keep swallowing that. So what the stomach does in turn, it's just marvelous. when the stomach doesn't turn, it starts producing the acid, gastric acid, and so you start feeling a burning sensation in your tummy, and it actually makes you feel a bit hungry simply because the stomach is ready to digest food, but there's no food there to be digested. So avoid chewing gum.
This is why I stopped. I didn't have to go to biology class to actually learn that.
Yeah, so
I just stopped.
Okay.
yeah, so in order to enjoy food properly, it must not only taste good, but it must also smell good.
Chefs, actually, some very, very good chefs, what they do is they don't even taste the food. They just use smell. So that they can apportion whether it's too much or not too much by smelling it.
Okay, so another question on nosebleeds here. I'm
afraid. This is a lot of chat on about nosebleeds, and there's one thing here about ruptured vessels. Doctor said that I get a lot because heat causes my blood vessels in my nose to pop. Is that true? And it's another about what is it about? We have nosebleeds because the blood vessels rupture. Yeah, and okay, we'll come to about seeing food. Well, we talked about sight before and how that works. Okay, blood vessels in the nose.
Yeah, the thing with the blood vessels in the nose is that they're very, very tiny. So it doesn't take much. That's why you shouldn't blow your nose really, really hard. But when you see the amount of blood that comes out, you're probably thinking that those vessels are huge, but they're not. They're very, very tiny. They're very, very thin, like threads. And with heat, yes, it can cause. It can cause them to,
Okay.
that's why you will find in very hot conditions, some people their nose will start to bleed. Now, the same thing with taste as well. I don't know, Pathfinders sent via chat. When you've had a cold and your nose was blocked, do you find that your food didn't have any taste? Have you ever experienced that and your food became less appetizing as a result? You know, one of the symptoms of COVID-19, the virus, is that you lose your sense of smell. And with that, you also lose your sense of taste and you lose your appetite as well. So that's how close, I think the closest sense that is related to smell is taste.
Okay.
So that's the answer for requirement number 9.
So someone says
they don't lose the taste, but they have, well, it's not that they don't lose it entirely, but they have less taste.
Yeah.
So there's a sensational loss. Yeah.
But I have situations where, just let everybody know, I did have the COVID-19 virus. I did lose my sense of taste. And I did lose my sense of smell. So I'm immune, don't worry. I'm safe. I'm one of the safe ones. So you do lose your sense of smell and the taste, the food. You just don't have the appetite to eat. You know.
Everybody I've spoken to actually, that's why I did this when you were talking, because that was my point. I was like, she stole my point because I found most of the people I was speaking to who had COVID, they did talk about losing that sense, and they said no, I couldn't taste the food, so you didn't want to eat. But then if you don't eat,
your body you don't get the nutrition.
You don't get the nutrition, so you're actually not getting any better.
That's right.
Area coordinator Trevor has just put a suggestion here about hay fever. He said avoid mucus-producing food and use green foods and flush with water.
Excellent. Thanks, Mr. Harewood.
And then we're on disorders now.
Yeah, requirement number 10.
What
are some disorders associated with olfaction? I think losing your sense of smell, I believe, I haven't read it anywhere, I believe it should be classified as a disability. Simply because, when you can't see blindness, you can't see, that has a lot of effects upon the human body and the way in which you interact with your environment. Losing your sense of smell, I see it as being the same. Because if you can't smell, you are not able to detect dangers around you, as we said earlier. You're not allowed to appreciate certain things that that are around you. As we said, individuals have certain smells. So if you know your mom would have a smell, you won't be able to smell that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I have memories of smelling people and
and someone saying that when you have the flu,
you don't feel like eating, and someone also talk about asthma is something that could be related to the sense of smell too.
yeah. Okay, so the first disorder that we have here is hyposmia, and that is a reduced ability to detect odors.
okay.
So there might be you're unable to smell things. You might smell, but not to the degree. So that gas,
Yeah.
you might get a whiff of it, but you wouldn't get the intensity of it. So hypo, anytime you see a medical term with hypo in front of it, it means low.
Okay.
So you have hypotension, which means low blood pressure.
So this is about low
Sense or ability to smell. All right, hyposmia. That's hyposmia.
The next disorder is anosmia, which is the inability to smell anything at all.
Okay.
The complete inability to detect odors. In rare cases, someone may be born without a sense of smell, a condition called congenital anosmia. So you're born without the ability to smell.
That must be.
That's a disability.
It must be a disability. Loss of a sense.
That's right.
Sensory organ.
That's right. That's right. You have the organ.
Anosmia.
You have the organ. You have the
Your
nose,
but you can't
But
smell.
it doesn't work.
smell.
Okay, it's like
If you have an eye but you can't see. Okay, so that's this. Yeah. Okay.
anosmia.
In doing this honor, and you read, you just you become aware of how it might affect someone who has this problem.
Okay.
The next one is parosmia, and that is a change in the normal perception of odors, such as when the smell of something familiar is distorted, or when something that normally smells pleasant now smells foul. So Pathfinders, what I want you to do is to go and speak to your mommy at this time and ask her, when she was expecting you, did she have a heightened sense of smell for certain things and it made her sick? For example, smelling onions. Normally, before the pregnancy, onions was fine and you didn't have a problem with it at all. But during that stage, your sense of smell has changed, and so you can't tolerate the smell of onions anymore. So
I'm just wondering then, so is this...
Parosmia, is this something that can come and go then?
That's right.
Okay.
It's very fluid. It comes and it goes. So something that may be pleasant to you at one point in time is unpleasant, and then you can go back to it. So that condition is very fluid. So nothing to really worry about unless you particularly like something and it puts you off. And the next one is phantosmia, a sensation of odor that isn't there. Now, this is a big deal, because you're smelling something, but it's not there. This is where we border now onto psychology.
Yep.
Okay.
The mind. I will leave you Pathfinders to go up and read up on these. This one, there's a lot.
Before you go to that one, there's someone saying that they couldn't eat mangoes
And the smell of meat was too intense.
Did it change? Did it change after?
Yeah, her mom couldn't eat. Don't know. She didn't say.
Yeah.
Another one
Said her mom said toothpaste, onions, broccoli, and eggs were really bad. Yeah, another one says onion, metal, and meat put my mom off.
Yeah, so that's some of the conditions that we experience with our sense of smell. So we're going on to requirement number 11. We're nearly done. More comments coming in.
Hannah and Elisha says, my mom couldn't even open the fridge.
Oh gosh, the smell, can you imagine?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're on requirement 11 now. And
So Comment 11, how do we compare the difference between the ability of humans and other living organisms? So now we had a little quiz. I was going to do it as a quiz, but looking at time, I was just going to go through it for you. So I did tell you about the lion, but now I'm going to tell you about the dogs. So you've noticed that in terms of dogs, right? They can detect something in 12.4 miles away. And if you've noticed when you go to the airport, if you're like a person like me, you like watching, UK borders, stuff like that, you see that the dogs are always going around sniffing, and you see how these guys are trying to hide drugs. They do everything, they wrap it in bubble, but the dogs can still smell it. And they're trained. It's fascinating, it just blows my mind. Black bears can smell between 18 to 20 miles away. That's
some distance.
That's some distance. That's really
That's
really
a
far.
hike. That's a big, major
That's a
hike.
very good hike, by the way. Yeah. So just going to move on quickly to the next part, which is I'm going to quickly see if we can do a quick experiment. I'm going to ask my young daughter, Wale, to come quickly. She's racing about here. So requirement number 13, I'm going to ask that you're going to do that at home. You need to find 3 verses. Come quickly. 3 verses which talk about smell. Now we're going to do a very, very quick experiment. Wale, you're going to sit down. I'm going to blindfold you, and we'll see whether you can identify some of the things. This will be very quick. If you take off your glasses for me, please. That's it.
A very helpful
assistant here for this last part of the honor.
Yeah. So we've picked different things, and we'll see whether she can actually identify what they are. What you could do is, these are things which are mainly from your own home. You can also just by yourself, you won't get it right every single time. So try one time and then try it again and see whether they can guess it. So I'm going to go with the first one.
Right, so you're going to be able to identify the scent of 5 different plants, 5 different foods, and 5 different everyday items in your home. Okay?
Write down what they are. So let's start.
Lemon or something? It smells like lemon.
It smells like lemon, she says.
It smells like lemon, are you sure?
It doesn't look
She's
like...
garlic.
Okay.
You say it?
This is one of the foods.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's see if she can identify something else.
Okay, I'm going to try this one.
Yeah.
Wait, it smells like toothpaste.
Smells like toothpaste.
Probably, but very close.
I don't know, something that smells rotten.
Oh! Something smells rotten. It wasn't something that smells rotten. It wasn't something like that. But let's see what she can find. Something else.
Let's see.
Identify something else.
Is there medication?
Medication.
I'm not sure. It smells like medication.
No, it's not that.
Not medication.
But that's the thing. Could be to her. It smells like medication.
That's right.
For someone else,
there is some sort of medication.
Okay. Well, our time is coming up very soon. Let's see what she can identify. What's this last item here?
I'm not sure.
Not sure?
Okay.
Like I said, you see, this is an experiment.
Yeah.
Because you can't identify every single thing. But I'm sure if I we open now and actually show her the last object.
Was.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
You see how wonderful and fearfully we are made. So the senses, all putting back all the senses together, you see that the different senses, sight, touch, smell, everything all complements one another. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. God bless you.
Thank you very
much, Jimmy and Celicia, and your wonderful assistant daughter. And we thank you for delivering this honor for us today. I just wanted to remind you the hearing honor is one that we haven't taught here from over the weekend, but it's one that you've got the worksheet for, and you are challenged to go and complete that honor in your own time. And we do have the badge for it. If you complete it, you can get the badge for it. So we'll check to see that you've done it correctly. We'll get some helps online for you. They want to put the help so you can copy. No, we want you to go and try it and do the research. But we will get the helps on for you after this weekend so that you can check your answers to see if everything is right. Okay, thank you so much. And just gonna ask, we're gonna finish off now. And move on to our next program later on this afternoon at the right time. We're done now. Okay, thank you so much.
Hello everyone, this is Declan Isabella. We will be doing our books of the Bible. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, Jeremiah, Esther and Job, Psalm, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song, Solomon, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Temptation, Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi, Matthew and Mark, Luke and John, Acts and 1st and 2nd Corinthians, Galatians and Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians and 1st and 2nd Thessalonians, 1st Timothy, 2nd Timothy, Titus, Philemon and Hebrew and James, 1st Peter, 2nd Peter, 3 John, Jude and Revelation.
Wow, 2 amazing honors this afternoon. It's amazing. I can just imagine what your sesh is going to look like after this camporee. I mean, 4, and then just 1 more that you can do, the hearing one, which you can do on your own time. So imagine, Vernon, 5 honors that you can do. So thank you, Jimmy and Celicia, and also Alberto, that was sharing these honors with us today. Right? We've come to the end of our honors. We don't want to keep you any longer. And just remember that we're back at 6 p.m., not 7 as the other days, but 6 for our closing ceremony. Now, you don't want to miss the closing ceremony, because this is going to wrap up our Pathfinder SEC Pathfinder Adventurer, SEC Pathfinder Adventurer E-Camporee special for 2020. So don't forget, 6 p.m. And remember, all the worksheets are on the website for you to complete if you need to. And remember, these videos will also be played back on the YouTube SEC Pathfinders channel for you to go look at and rewind and just do your best. So let's just pray, and then we'll say goodbye to you. In 2 hours' time, we'll join again for our closing, for worship and closing ceremony. Dear Jesus, thank you for this amazing time we could have. Thank you for learning again, for the exciting opportunities to learn how our bodies are made and how you've made us. Thank you that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, but most of all, help us to remember that you love us, you care for us, you want the best for us, and to be the best people that we can be. Thank you for everyone that has presented, and for all the Pathfinders that have listened, and may everything be done in honor and glory to you. Thank you for your love. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. See you at 6 p.m.